Hello, it is Stella from New Hope Wellbeing, and we are back with another video. I hope everybody's been enjoying their week so far. It's been a beautiful sunny day here. I think we're going to get to close to 30 degrees with the end of the week coming in, which is super exciting. Do love my warmer months. But today we are going to be discussing our next Sumerian goddess, and today's goddess is Gatumdug, or Gatumdug. I think it's Gatumdug. She is the wise mother goddess of ancient Mesopotamia and stands in regal attire with an 8-rayed orb symbolizing her divine essence. In the ancient city of Lagash, her presence was brought us a sense of divine protection, wisdom, and healing, and her influence extended from the common people to the rulers who sought her guidance in times of uncertainty. As a goddess, deeply tied to dreams and healings, Gatumdug was a figure of profound mystery and insight. She offered spiritual clarity when the world seemed uncertain, and she embodied the nurturing spirit of the city. So I guess you could say she was the mother of the city. Her role also intertwined with broader themes of divine care as she eventually became connected with Gula, the Mesopotamian goddess of healing. Now she was most known as being the protector of Lagash, and there are ancient hymns like those found in the Gudea cylinders that describe her as the first deity consulted by the rulers like Gudea, seeking dream interpretations, healing, and divine guidance. She often appeared as a benevolent mother, offering blessings and support during the construction of the temples and city projects. Her wisdom in interpreting dreams and her healing touch made her a trusted divine advisor, revered for bringing clarity and comfort in times of distress. And I'm thinking I probably should get in touch with her to help me with a very weird dream I had the other night. I'm still trying to figure out what it all means. Now, her parents were An, the god of the sky, and Ki, goddess of the earth. Her siblings were Enki, Enlil, Ninhursag, and Mimnashigunu. And her relationships with the other deities shaped her story, adding layers of mystery to her myth. So Ninurta, the god of law, healing, and war, often appeared in her story as a potential consort. He complemented Gatumdug's roles, blending his marital strength and her nurturing care. So that masculine-feminine union, I guess you could say. Together they symbolized a union of protection and order, guiding the rulers of Nagash in both peace and conflict. Nagal, god of war and the underworld, emerged in some traditions as another consort. His realm was darkness, pestilence, and battle, the shadows that counterbalanced her healing light, and their connection hinted at the duality of life and death, care and destruction, and which echoed through Mesopotamian myth. So once more, that feminine, masculine, yin and yang type symbolism. You can't have one without the other, with these two particular consorts in particular. Her children include Gangir, a goddess known for her fierce protection of Lagash. Just as Gatumdug guarded the city with wisdom and dreams, Gangir stood watch with a warrior's heart. Together they sheltered the city under a divine mantle, ensuring the city's strength and stability through the ages. Now there are two tales that stand out in the legacy of Gatumdug. The first is the Gudea cylinders. In this tale, Gatumdug plays a central role as a guide to King Gudea, ruler of Nagash. When Gudea faced uncertain times, he turned to Gatumdug, seeking her insight through dreams. She appeared to him in a vision in night and offered guidance on the sacred tasks he must undertake. She provided divine instructions for building temples and offered her blessings for the city's future. Gudea, in his devotion, addressed her as both mother and father, a testament to her nurturing yet powerful presence. With her counsel, he built the temples, laying bricks with the assurance that Gatumdug watched over the city's growth. Now, very interesting that in this particular one, he saw her as both mother and father, and not just mother. So that's actually very interesting, considering modern days we only seem to see father when it comes to a lot of the mainstream religions. It's just father, no mention of mother. In this case, mother was seen as mother and father. The second one was the lament of Sumer and and this story tells of the fall of the third dynasty of It is a story of sorrow when the goddess, alongside other gods, withdrew from their sacred spaces. In this time of calamity, temples emptied and the divine voices fell silent. Gatumdug left her sanctuary in Lagash, joining the exodus of gods abandoning their religious or their cult centers. The story speaks of the divine absence, a turning point where gods, once protectors, allowed the desolation of their cities. It is a haunting tale where Gatumdug's departure marked a shift from the divine protection to the harsh realities of a city left without its guardians. Once more, it's actually a very interesting story, and I suppose one we can say is playing out in modern times, with people questioning the religious institutions more, and turning more and more to like maybe the spiritual New Age movement. So I suppose you could say we are seeing a little bit of this again, which is interesting, that we have this old myth that describes this absence of the divine, and then if you look at what's occurring now in modern times, it does almost feel like there's an absence of the divine once more. It's quite interesting that it seems to be a story that's played out, I suppose, time and time again. But her mythology, her mythology though is a tale of hope and sorrow. As a guide, she brought light to the dreams of rulers, shaping their visions into reality. But her story is also one of loss, where even the most devoted guardians must turn away, leaving their people to face the unknown. And I suppose in that role, you can come back to her role as the mother. At some point, you have to let your children out into the world to face the unknown, and to let them learn to stand on their own 2 feet. So I suppose in that essence, I guess maybe that's what the gods are doing when the divine leaves us. Maybe it's like the parent coming back to the child and being, it's time for you to go out into the world. Something to ponder, I guess. Now, her places of worship included, was obviously Lagash, it was her central worship site. But she also had temples in Nina, Gisu, in Abu Salabiku, and in in the third period, her temple in Lagash did remain active during this period as well. And then I've got a note here to say destruction, along with Lugazili. Okay. So her temples ended up being burned and looted of valuables in Lagash, which, once more, when you look through history, it is something that seems to have happened again. I mean, we could say we saw this happen when England became Protestant and the old Catholic monasteries were looted by the then authorities for their wealth, and and even like the Crusades, I guess you could say, to like old historical relics that one country has taken from another country. Something that seems to happen quite often as you start looking closer and closer in history. It's stories that just seem to keep being retold, events that just keep re-happening. I suppose because everything comes in some sort of cycle, I guess you could say. So I'd say this particular goddess definitely showcases how the cycles continue. We always come back. We always come back to the same spot, one way or another. But we always end up back where we started. A little wiser, hopefully. With hopefully a little bit more knowledge of how to navigate the next cycle. But yes, I think that's definitely what we can definitely take away from this particular goddess. But that is everything I have on her at this stage. But we will be back next week. So until then, I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their week and has a great weekend. And we'll chat soon. Bye!